Hi, welcome back to Conversations Over this week. Let's have a conversation over this pandemic, what's going on. I know it's kind of drastically affecting our plans for Thanksgiving.
How very topical of you.
I know. This isn't going to age well because, the pandemic's going to end eventually in the
It'll be a
years from
good way
now.
to look back at history, at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's Tyler,
Oh, I'm Tyler.
and I'm
You
Garrett.
know by now. Um, Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember the intro when you haven't listened to any of the episodes.
Wow,
Because, I don't edit or anything.
that's true, you don't.
Um,
You could. We could
I
fire Jacob,
could,
our editor.
our editor. Yeah, but I think it's easier if he just does it.
I guess you're right.
Um, and then he has exclusive access to it as well.
As long as we don't have to pay him.
That's true.
I wonder if he wants
How
to be
has
on
this
an episode.
pandemic been for you? What were you saying?
I was going to see if Jacob wanted to be on an episode. I was asking you if you thought he'd be interested.
Oh, we can extend the invite to him. I don't know.
All right, Jacob, consider this your formal invitation to be on an episode of the podcast.
Yeah. You can bring whatever topic you want, and we'll talk about it.
I know he suggested a few to include how come the temperature of water changes the flavor.
Okay.
But we can leave that one for him to bring to us.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's not a good question, but it's an interesting question.
Are any of the podcasts based on good questions? Be honest.
No.
What are
Have any
fun
of them
video
been
games?
questions?
What is bad candy? Do we enjoy holidays? Which, by the way, I listened back to that while I was while Jacob was editing. Sorry. And I realized that of the 4 or 5 questions I posed at the top, we didn't hit any of them.
We can speedrun those questions right now. If
I
you
don't
want.
remember them, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So I guess they're not important.
No, they weren't. One of them
Speaking
was
of,
holiday traditions. Do we have any holiday traditions?
do we have any holiday traditions? We have cinnamon rolls every Christmas.
Oh, yeah, we do. And Christmas doesn't start till 9.
Yeah, every year.
Every year. Alright, that's it for the traditions. I was trying to get Robert a Christmas gift. I know he won't listen to this, so I'll talk about it a little bit. Because I went to Target today because my quarantine finally ended. To get a little bit on topic, I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and it finally ended yesterday. So I went to Target to get ice cream because when we ordered groceries, we forgot it. And I mean, how can I live without ice cream, you know?
Right.
And because we had freedom again, we wanted to go out and see the world a little bit. So we went to Target, and while I was there, I was looking for Christmas gifts ideas. And there were a few okay ones, but the more I shop around, it's like the more I don't know what Robert wants right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he collected Funko Pops, but now he's lost half his collection, and I don't know what he has anymore. And, I thought about getting him, there's this Iron Man helmet, a Lego Iron Man helmet you put together that's kind of cool. But, I don't know where you display it. So I just kind of haven't gotten him anything yet.
Yeah, I got him a beanie from the same website that I got Dad's gift as well.
Yeah, I haven't gotten Dad anything yet either.
Oh, while we're on the topic of gifts, I was looking at some espresso machines,
Uh-huh.
and there are some that you can get for around the 200 range that have
Yeah.
decent reviews.
I made
So
a
I feel like
group
that's not-
chat so we could talk to Dad about that, and then I didn't put anything in it because I realized it was kind of early and he had work that day.
Yeah, I mean you could message him now. He's not going to work.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He can't, can
Yeah, exactly.
he? You can,
Back
though,
on
right?
topic, quarantine.
Back on topic. Full circle.
Full circle.
We haven't
So
made a full
basically,
circle in a while.
what's been going on? Oh, that's like a figure eight though, because it's 2 full circles.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
What's been going on here? I guess Garrett could better explain it because he was the one that was affected by it. You want to go ahead and tell him what the deal was, why you were quarantined?
Well, the deal was Katie got sick and she got tested, and we found out it was COVID, so we had to quarantine in place for I don't know, 12, 13 days, I think it ended up being, because we luckily got over it pretty fast. We were symptom-free for the 7-day requirement, and it really threw a curveball in all of what was November for us so far, because, like, as we've stated before, we're college students, and it's hard to be a college student at this time, especially when you just have to be sidelined for 2.5 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Makes it tough.
So did you just have your classes all online?
No, a lot of them didn't even offer, just because there's not assignment-heavy classes, and that's a lot to do with my degree program, is it's a lot of discussion and a lot of looking at text periods and understanding sort of the setting and historical context. So it's a lot of, you lecture and you ask questions when you have them, and not a lot of homework. So it made it tough to keep those classes up.
Yeah. A lot of my classes this semester have been just entirely online, just because the large, mass of students that would be required to be in one lecture hall.
Yeah, I get that.
Obviously, we don't have lecture halls large enough to hold 150 people that are all socially distanced. So that's just been online. So I haven't had to quarantine, but I have been enjoying all of these online classes.
Not to mention getting tested for work.
Oh, I was not tested for work.
Why were you tested?
I chose to be tested.
Oh.
With holidays coming up, the possibility of going back to see family, I was like, I haven't had any scares, and we, meaning like my friend group, we've been really careful, and a lot of them are constantly getting tested because they're air quote randomly selected.
Oh.
So obviously, if one of us had it, we would probably all
right
have it, or at least need to be tested for it.
For sure.
But every single test has come back negative.
That's good. We've not had that luck.
Yeah. I still chose, just to play it safe, going home for at least a few days, hopefully, just to make sure that I'm negative. And I am. We got our test results back pretty quickly.
I'm getting tested on Monday, so.
Gotcha. Are you going to be allowed to? Because there's a question that's like, have you been exposed to anyone who tested positive in the last 10 days?
Well, I haven't been exposed to anyone who's tested positive in the last 10 days. It's been 13 days.
Oh, okay, so you're probably fine.
Mm-hmm. It's just a check.
I don't know what tests they're going to do for you. For me, like I mentioned this earlier, I had to fill a vial with saliva, basically.
Yeah, Katie
just
had
make sure you're drinking
test.
lots of water before. Okay, so it would probably be the same then.
I'm not looking
Did she
forward
go through
to it.
Campus?
No, she went to a clinic close by. I don't know if it's the same one we're going to, so I might have to drink a lot of water first. We'll see.
Yeah, but there's a requirement that you can't drink or eat anything, in a half hour before. But make sure before that half hour mark you're drinking lots of water. It'll just go by faster.
Exciting.
But mine was it's kind of sketchy. I was in a parking garage.
They're definitely cloning you.
Yeah, it was in an underground parking garage.
Spooky.
Yeah, that's fine though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, I guess I kind of teased that our holiday plans have been ruined due to this pandemic.
We did, yeah.
I should address that. Long story short, a couple days ago, our parents said that they had to get tested, and they got tested yesterday. They haven't gotten the results back. But obviously, if they're positive...
No Thanksgiving.
No Thanksgiving. Right. So I don't know what the plan is, if there's a backup plan.
Turkey Day might be canceled.
I'm sure we'll definitely follow up in the next episode.
And let you know if we had Thanksgiving or not. I mean,
yeah.
Not to tease it too much or hype it up too much, but if we have Thanksgiving, we could probably record the first ever episode of Conversations Over in the same room.
Yeah, not the first podcast ever, but the first
No,
episode of
and
this podcast.
we can't state enough that there is another podcast that exists, and it's terrible.
I don't remember anything about it.
You
I'm
don't
not
remember the
gonna lie.
Britney joke?
No.
Oh, that's the only part I remember.
You still have the file?
Yeah, it's on my other laptop. We could publish
Alright.
it under Conversations Over. Conversations Over our last podcast.
No.
It'd be a cheap episode, but it's content.
Yeah, I guess. I'm all about shortcuts.
Yeah, I know
Cutting
you are.
corners.
Yeah, Mitchell
But I
had to
think
get
it's-
tested, and he
He was
tested
positive. Did he tell you?
Yeah, but his last day of quarantine is the day before Thanksgiving, so he still gets to have Thanksgiving.
That's good. I know he was worried about having Thanksgiving and stuff. He's been asymptomatic though, so he's not.
Yeah, lucky him.
Struggling. Were you ever symptomatic?
I was last Wednesday. I had a terrible morning. Basically, I told Kitty I was going to speed run COVID, and basically did. I never got tested, so I don't know if it was COVID or just a weird flu thing. But
yeah, right.
basically, I woke up at 6 in the morning, because I was just feeling awful. I thought I was going to puke all over the place. So I woke up at 6, and I don't think I slept much that night either. I was trying to, but didn't have much results. And I thought it was just we had a weather change, rather drastic, and I thought the change in pressure just gave me a bad migraine, which it usually does. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh no, this is something far worse. I had a fever of 102 degrees. And then,
Damn.
yeah, basically I was miserable for 3.5, 4 hours. Didn't eat anything except a York peppermint patty. Because, I don't know, I saw it and I wanted to eat
It's
it.
a good choice though.
Well, mint helps calm your stomach, so I thought it would be good. So basically I was miserable until I finally puked at 11 o'clock, I think it was. So right before noon. And then basically felt a lot better immediately. Laid down, got 2 hours of sleep, woke up and my fever was gone, and I have been fine since.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously don't know if that's COVID or not.
Yeah, me
I'm not an
neither.
expert. I woke up the day before I was supposed to go and get tested, which also happened to be the day after physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Which is what weekday for those listening who want to stalk you to your physical therapy place?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I go Monday and Wednesday. Monday at 6, Wednesday at 3.
And could you give us the exact address?
I don't know the exact
I know you
address. It's
don't.
down the street from Kroger.
That's why I felt fine saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I woke up and I was super sore. But the areas that I was sore, they weren't the areas that, one, I had worked out the day before, or two, had worked in physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, uh-oh, what's going on?
Maybe I'm sick.
Yeah, because soreness is a symptom or whatever.
Maybe, I don't know.
And it is, I think.
I'm not that educated on the pandemic. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
no one quote me on that, but I think it is. Just aches and pains.
Okay.
But one of the areas that was sore was where my lymph nodes are in my neck.
Yes, that is usually a sign that you're sick.
And so chewing hurt a lot.
Mm.
And the rest of my neck was also sore.
Certainly.
And obviously my shoulders were really sore. But it was the neck soreness that had me worried. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to not go out today because I don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And then luckily the next day I felt better. And then I got tested and it came back negative, so it was all good. It was just a weird scare that I had. But I mean, it could be one of my thousands of medical problems.
It definitely
Or I
could be unrelated.
yeah, I could have just been holding my head a certain way while at physical therapy because they're some laying down exercises. And that could have triggered the soreness and I just didn't even register. But sure enough, it was enough to scare me to be like, oh no. But then I was like, okay, my lymph nodes aren't swollen, it just hurts. And I was like, I'm not feverish, my head doesn't hurt any more than usual.
I can still taste things.
Yeah. which I mean that sucks because that's like a huge like party trick. You could be like,
Yeah, that's the only hilarious thing about COVID. It's a very
it's like a
serious
it's
problem, and we need to react better to it. But the people online eating onions and just downing lemon juice without reacting are pretty hilarious.
yeah. It's a nice virtual party trick, I should say. Don't go to a party if you have
Don't
COVID,
go to a
guys.
party at all right now.
That's fair. You think we're gonna get put on another lockdown?
The lovely governor of Indiana is currently quarantining and has said that he might change some things. But being that we live in America and we don't really listen when we're told things, I'm going to say no.
You don't think so?
No, but I will say, in an interesting bit of quarantine and COVID news, Keanu Reeves is on a little bit of investigation with Matrix 4 right now because people are saying they had a rap party that they disguised as a party scene for the movie in Germany, I think it was, where the rules stated you couldn't have a gathering of more than 50 people and you had to have permission to have 50 people, and they had like 200 plus people with guests because they said they were filming. But now it's come to light that maybe they weren't filming and they could be in trouble for that.
Ooh. I mean, obviously, it has nothing to do with Keanu Reeves. Like, it wasn't his decision. It was
No.
the director's.
Yeah, it was the cast and the directors, but he was there.
Right. I mean, there's probably going to be some loophole that, like, oh, but we did film it, but, like, blah, blah, blah. I feel like they'll get out of it pretty easily.
We'll see.
Yeah. I personally think we are going to have another lockdown.
Do you? After Christmas or
do.
before?
After Christmas. I think after January. Just because under the current administration, I don't see it happening.
But you think come January 20th, we'll have some new
Yeah.
ideas? I could see that happening. I could see a lot of people complaining about it immediately. I could see someone else who's currently in a position trying to use that to cancel the change of administration, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, we should definitely steer this away from politics.
We should, you're right.
But I do think it would be beneficial as well. I think it's a good idea to just go ahead and like have everyone hunker down because we're already seeing a resurgence in cases.
I think if we can do it properly, it's a good idea. If we can do it for 2.5, 3 weeks and then be done with it, that's the only solution right now.
Yeah. But it also depends, because 2 different companies at this point have had promising results from their stage 3 vaccine testing.
Yeah, Moderna and what was the other one?
I don't know their names, or else I would have mentioned it.
Fair enough.
So I mean that's promising,
That
and
is
also
promising.
super impressive.
Yeah, honestly.
Just like from a biological standpoint, for like a medicinal standpoint, that's absolutely insane that they were able to come together in just under a year, I guess.
Yeah, 9 months, just about, almost. 7, 8.
And just throw a vaccine together.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, it's taken like years and years in the past. I know when this pandemic first hit, it was speculated to take like at least 3 years to have a vaccine. So I mean, kudos to those guys for doing it right.
There's some weirdly political things there too, though.
Oh, are there really?
Yeah. We won't
my
get into
God.
it, the actual
Science,
political
guys.
stuff, but I will point out that there's some hilarious memes about people being like, Bill Gates can't fund a vaccine, because he was trying to help with the research because he's one of the richest people on the planet, right?
Right.
So he's like trying to help with the vaccine, and people were like, Bill Gates, you make a vaccine, he's gonna put microchips on our heads, don't take the vaccine. And then Elon Musk was like, hey, I'm gonna put this data chip in your head. And people were like, yeah, put a data chip in my head, Elon.
Yeah, I don't think people understand that when you're born, you're assigned a number by the government.
Yeah, right, they're like, oh, the government would never allow this. That government you pay taxes to are assigned a federal number by and get all of your official licensing and IDing from? Yeah, great point.
Yeah, if they want to track you, they can.
Tell me more about how you're off the grid, moron.
Exactly. People just don't understand that, and I mean, a lot of that has to do with like fear mongering, and I understand that, but there's no reason to attack this man who is very philanthropic.
He is, yeah.
That's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
And he's funding like lots and lots of vaccines in India. He said hesitantly because he's not certain and doesn't want to fact check himself.
Yeah, and he's got like several children's hospitals, and he's trying to make sure that Xbox is being inclusive to people with some sort of physical disability or whatever limitations they may have by making play everyone. Like, he's trying to do actually nice things, and people are like, no.
Yeah, people just don't understand, like, that some people just want to be nice.
Yeah, believe it or not everyone's an asshole.
Themselves. Yeah, it's hard to believe.
It is, especially in 2020.
Especially when you think that, like, oh, there's no way to get on top without, like, stepping on others.
And especially when you're an asshole. I think you can make yourself feel better by saying everyone is.
That's fair. Speaking of just Xboxes, and the new one just came out as well as the PlayStation. I read, it was probably on Reddit, honestly, but it was like, if you buy yourself the new Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, donate your old one to a hospital.
Yeah, that's a great idea, honestly.
And I had never even considered that, but
yeah, because
having been hospitalized in the past, like, it makes a lot of sense.
You can't really entertain a kid with daytime television anymore.
Yeah.
And if you can get them like half an hour or an hour with an Xbox, like, that's great for them, because like maybe they can get online and talk to their friends. Maybe they can just like do something that makes them feel like they used to, you know? Even if it's just for an hour. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd never even considered it, but if I end up buying myself a new Xbox or whatever, I feel like I'm definitely gonna donate mine probably to the children's hospital.
Yeah.
It's like right down the street from me. Oh no, people are gonna dox me.
Oh no. It's an unnamed children's hospital, and they also treat adults.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. It's just a hospital.
No, they don't treat old people or infants.
They treat children and adolescents, and that's it.
It's a middle life hospital. If you can find the middle life hospital, you'll find Tyler. Don't forget the Kroger. That's also nearby. And
don't tell them the name of the physical therapy place.
IKEA and Topgolf.
Yes.
Right across from each other. Tyler lives there. Did we cover your tracks well enough?
If you can
The Mall of America. He lives next to the Mall of America.
I do, yes. I also live next to the third largest ball of yarn.
And the Washington Monument.
Yes, but the Washington State Monument.
Now everyone's going to be
different.
Like, clearly he lives in Las Vegas, the only place they could possibly have all of these things.
And they'd be correct. I live in Vegas.
He lives in the Caesar. He's a very rich man.
I am Caesar.
Speaking of Caesar and homosexuals, Jacob, he didn't get angry at the transition.
He did or didn't?
He didn't. We were on Xbox yesterday. We played some Call of Duty Cold War, which we are going to talk about in this episode, by the way.
Okay.
For those of you still around who are looking for some hot Cold War tea, it's coming. We were playing yesterday, and he's like, "Did you call me your gay partner?" And I was like, "No, I didn't call you my gay partner." Tyler said, "Speaking of homosexuals, happy birthday, Jacob." No one said anything about a gay partner, so Jacob might have been doing some self-fulfilling wishes there when he was listening to the podcast last week.
He's like, "Wow, did I make it?" No, I didn't think he would actually be upset.
No, I didn't either. We never would have made a joke like that if we thought it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, it goes without saying that we don't. It's not an insult to call someone gay, and we don't.
Right,
think
absolutely.
It is.
There's nothing wrong with homosexuality. Love is love unless they're a child.
The problem is heterosexuals, honestly. Did you see?
Okay.
It happened a few years ago. Alabama accidentally made being straight illegal for like 24 hours.
I did see that. I remember
Hilarious.
seeing that on the news or on like
Hilarious.
memes.
Anyway, is there anything you want to
God.
get into before we get into Cold War tea? Because I have a feeling it's gonna take a minute.
I mean, for once we could talk about the actual topic of the podcast.
Right. But this
Like, okay,
does
so
relate
like,
a little bit.
I mean, well, yeah, because like playing video games has been like a good way to get over it, and so we could bridge into that in the end, right? So I was gonna ask like how has this pandemic in general affected you, and then like what are some things you're doing to get through it, and like what would you suggest?
Gotcha.
But I do before I ask that question, I have just a fun little
Anecdote?
story about physical therapy.
All right.
So I went last Wednesday was my last appointment,
Oh, so
and I
you
had been on
appeared.
campus beforehand because I was getting tested, right? And so I went from getting tested to get myself some coffee, and then I was walking back to my apartment,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna have enough time to like get back to my apartment, drop my stuff off, get changed, and get to physical therapy on time.
Yeah, you mentioned
Just
that.
because like walking and stuff. And so I was like, I'll bike there. It's no big deal. And I'm on my way back to my apartment still, and I get a text from one of my friends, and they're like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I was like, well, I have physical therapy, like maybe afterwards we could like meet up and like walk downtown or whatever. And so then I was like, if we meet up and like I have my bike, like I'd have to like go back to my apartment
Right.
and then back downtown. And so I was like, I'm gonna scooter there. I'm gonna ride one of these electric scooters. I've heard great things. I have the app on my phone. There's one right there. I can do this. And so I come upstairs, I drop all my stuff off, I get changed, and I go down and I get on the scooter. I get it going. My hat falls off, so I have to stop. I get off, I get my hat, put it on backwards this time so it's not catching air,
Battle mode.
and I'm cruising. And these at first I was a little hesitant on it, but like very quickly I got very comfortable on it. And this thing's going like
They scoot.
anywhere from like 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, they
Like
shoot.
it has a speedometer on it. It's really fun. And so I get to physical therapy and I'm doing my warm up or whatever. And then I finish with my warm up and I walk over to the table that I was assigned, and someone on an electric unicycle drives past outside. They looked really cool. They had like full biker gear on, like all blacked out, like the helmet and everything, but they're on a unicycle. And so my personal physical therapist and someone else that works there got to talking, and they were like, one of them said that they don't even trust like the hoverboards that came out a little while ago,
Right.
and then the other one said that they hadn't been on one of the electric scooters that you find downtown. And I chime in, I'm like, oh, that's actually how I got here today.
Mm-hmm.
And my physical therapist is like, oh, like, I'm sorry, I didn't see that in your history. Like, what happened? And at this point, I was like, oh, why would it be in my history that I rode a scooter here?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird.
And then I was like, oh, you think I was in an accident on a scooter? And I was like, no, that's literally how I got here today.
Oh, yeah.
She took it like,
That's what put me
Like-
here.
yeah, like, oh, that's how I got where I am today. Like, I had a terrible accident. But, like, no, I literally rode a scooter here. And then she just started dying laughing. I
There's a
was
guy
like,
outside on. He's by the river with his dog, so I'm a little distracted. I just wanted to let you know that there's a very cute dog outside, wearing a
you have
vest.
you have a river? You have a river?
It's a little stream, yeah.
Oh,
It
so
leads
it's
right
no Rio
into.
Grande.
Yeah, it's a little
which I am
tributary
also next
by
to.
St. Joe River.
Okay, you just doxed yourself.
Yeah, because St. Joe River is real tiny. It's not like a river flows through like most of fucking America or anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I said I'm by the Rio Grande,
Oh yeah.
which is the river that forms the border between Texas and Mexico.
There you go. I was wondering when you were gonna finish your sentence.
Sorry, I got a text from Dad and I was reading it.
Gotcha.
I can't do two things at once. Yeah, back to the pandemic though.
Oh, are you done with your scooter story?
Yeah,
On the subject
really
of
fun. I highly
scooters
recommend
putting
them.
people in physical therapy, it didn't put him in physical therapy, but
Colin.
yeah, absolutely, Colin. Hopefully Jacob gets on the podcast to tell the story. I'll write it down so that I make sure to bring it up when he ends up on the podcast, because Colin, man, he ate it on a scooter. He's not allowed to ride them anymore.
Yeah, I heard that. Mitchell was telling me actually. Like, I told him I was riding the scooter. He's like, "All right, just don't do what Colin did." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Huh?" And he told me the story, and I was like,
There's a
"Oh
little
my
teaser
God."
for all of you listeners who are Jacob mostly to tell the Colin scooter story whenever he's on the podcast. So yeah, let's talk about the pandemic.
All right, so in what ways has this pandemic affected you?
Oh gosh. Well, we can start with the most obvious and most, I won't say traumatic, but definitely impactful event, which is I was literally studying abroad in Austria when this all started.
I'm sorry. Whenever someone says studying abroad, I just like, was she cute? You know?
All right.
Sorry.
Great. So yeah, I was
You
in
can
Austria.
cut that out.
I was studying overseas in Austria.
There you go.
And the semester had basically just started. I got there in February, and they had a late start. It was like the second week in March when they were trying to start. And then literally we got told the pandemic was starting, and we had to report back to America, or we probably wouldn't be able to get home. So for starters, it ruined an entire semester of my college experience, and brought to a quick end what people consider their biggest mistake in college, either not studying overseas or the thing that they love the most, studying overseas. So, I mean, there was that. And then I immediately had to enroll in 8-week courses just to make sure I was on track to graduate. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, for those of you listening, what he's complaining about is that
I got a European vacation.
he got like a 2 month, maybe was it 1 month?
It was 1 month because it was February 14th until March 13th, but it was leap year.
Yeah. Yeah, basically just a 1 month, essentially paid for vacation.
I paid for it.
Okay, did you though?
Yes, actually I did.
I don't know if that's true.
I paid for the ticket out. I paid for the equivalent housing for the student who was here. So I did pay for it.
Kind of. To be determined.
If I had stayed there for the length of the semester until like the middle of June, I would have been reimbursed and I'm not going to call it a profit, but I would have been up because of the equivalent.
Would have been in the green, situation. You know? Yeah, so basically he got a month extended vacation, and he got to go see Europe.
I didn't see a lot of Europe. We could have a conversation
Okay.
over my studying abroad / overseas, but I don't think you care to hear it.
I feel like I've talked to you about it. It could be a podcast episode, but I don't really have that experience.
Right. Maybe
so I guess
I guess that kind of affected you in the same way. Like you planned on
Yeah,
studying
I was gonna
abroad,
say.
and I mean you could still do it junior year for sure, senior year, right? Because this is your sophomore year.
Yeah. So I was gonna flip-flop over to how like that impacted me. I was supposed to have
a
European vacation in the summer.
You were.
When we went and picked this guy up. I was gonna go with my parents, and we were gonna see a couple different locations.
Visit family we'd never seen before.
Yeah, and so like we had like this list of like places we wanted to visit and things we wanted to see. That didn't happen.
We didn't get to do it because of COVID.
And I'm kind of salty about that for other reasons as well. Namely, I didn't get a senior trip. Both of my brothers did.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico, but then that didn't happen either.
We're still going on our road trip as soon as COVID ends.
Hell yeah, as soon as it's back open.
Yeah,
and I might actually have money this summer so we can do it.
That would be helpful, yeah.
Yeah. That depends if I keep up my job.
Right.
My working buddy quit.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Why?
He was tired of it.
Oh, that's
and I'm also tired of it, but I have rent to pay.
Right, you like the...
He was just pocketing the cash.
You like the money. How's your rock climbing gym search?
I kind of put that on pause until I have, 1, reliable transportation to get there.
Right.
2, the ability to rock climb again.
Fair. So it'll be
and
at least
3,
past Christmas, you think? Before you look to
Yeah, it'll definitely be a January kind of surge.
Fair.
But also it depends what happens with this pandemic, with cases going back up.
Yeah, memberships
I'm
and
not sure.
gyms are probably closing back up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there are some gyms that the way they keep the riffraff out is it's members only.
Members only, yeah.
But gym memberships for climbing is expensive.
Expensive.
I'm talking like $60+ a month.
Yeah.
Which
Not cheap.
is doable, but it's not cheap.
Right.
And I mean, sure, if you go more than 3 times in the month, it's paid for.
But if you don't, I mean, and even if you do, that's like half a decent car payment.
Yeah. So I'll have to see what happens with like transportation and stuff. But yeah, so I definitely didn't get my European vacation that I was really excited for.
And you didn't get the backup vacation either. We were going to go to California, but nothing opened back up.
Yeah. And I mean, this is like first world problems for sure. Like, oh, we didn't get to go on vacation.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of people who listen to this might not understand if they listen to it is that growing up, we didn't take a lot of vacations.
Yeah, that would have been, I think, our first legitimate vacation.
Absolutely, it would have been.
Like vacations in the past have been, we drove when we moved states. We had to drive.
Well,
That
we
was
didn't have to
vacation.
drive, but we chose to drive because that was pretty much the only time we all got together as a family and could do something that wasn't working or going to school.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, like that's the only vacations I ever remember taking is when we would drive.
Yeah. It wasn't really a vacation. Usually it was we would try to do something fun while we were doing something incredibly life-changing. So we'd either be moving and we would have like a mini vacation along the way where we would kind of stop by and visit family, or you'd have a doctor's appointment and we'd all go as a family and like try to do something fun before.
Yeah, it's kind of just putting a Band-Aid on like a bullet wound.
Yeah, pretty much, right. Our life would change entirely and they'd be like, Grandma.
Yeah. And that's not to say we had awful childhoods. When we lived in the last state, we were like 10 minutes away from Busch Gardens.
We went every year.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was my birthday. Every year we'd go.
That was fun.
It was super fun. I mean, we had a great childhood. I wouldn't change anything about it. Except,
Absolutely not.
If we could get Dad home a little bit more, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Obviously,
maybe that one thing.
That's the one thing I would change. You make jokes about it all the time. But
I do.
I really wish we could have had more time with Dad growing up. But other than that, I mean, it was so fun. We got to do so much a lot of kids never get to do.
Yeah, and we were really exposed to
Culture,
so many
and
different cultures at a very young age. We got to see many things. It really opened our eyes as to what the world really has to offer, I feel like.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest impact this had on me, just trying to stay on topic, or get back on topic. I have yet to have like a normal college experience.
You really haven't, no.
Because like I feel like the first semester, like you're getting settled in.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of on the rocks, and then that second semester on is kind of when you like hit your stride and like you adapt and you get used to it. For me, the second semester was like a couple weeks, and then spring break happened,
and it never stopped happening.
Yeah, I remember everyone was excited because we got off
extra week of spring break.
We got off a day early for spring break. They were like,
we were so young.
Classes are canceled, and we were like, hell yeah! And at the time, the plan was one additional week.
Mm-hmm.
So spring break would have been like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you were traveling out of the country, in which case you would come back and you would quarantine for the suggested period. And then spring break hit. And then the second week hit.
And then you picked me up from the airport.
And then, yeah, we picked him up from the airport. He was back at that point. And then, like, the fourth week hit. And, like, during this time, like, they were, like, trying to figure out what they were doing for classes. And so I think around, like, the third week, they sent an email and they were like, all classes are going to be online. Here's basically what that's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since like March, like I finished up that last semester all online. This semester has been all online for me.
Yeah, and you transferred.
And I transferred. And so like I have like a little bit of the social aspect here, just because like I knew someone going in and they just kind of like integrated me into their group or whatever. And I've made some like other friends on the side as well.
Side friends.
Side friends. You got to keep your group separate. Never try and
Never
combine
integrate them. The guys from home don't know anything about my friends here.
I don't even know anything about your friends there.
I just kind of shot myself in the foot there because I know Jacob's going to listen to this and be like, what the fuck you mean you have other friends? But I have other friends
Yeah,
too.
right? Sorry, Jacob. You were knocked down to spot like probably 18 or so. I don't know.
I'm not going to rank
That's
my
a
friends
joke.
on the podcast.
That's next week. Come back.
Unless number
Come back
17
next
himself
week.
shows up on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, he's your 17? Interesting. Interesting.
No, definitely not. I don't know.
But yeah, so like
friends.
I've gotten a little bit of that social aspect just because like I knew someone going in, so I kind of cheated there.
Right, you're trying your hardest for it to be normal.
But it's
But
still
it isn't.
it's so obvious that it's not normal. Like
Yeah.
there have been no events on campus. There sporting events, not a thing.
Mm-mm.
And we have a D1 swimming and diving team, which I was really excited to go and watch.
And you haven't been able to yet.
And I don't think I'm able to at all. Like I looked on their website to try and figure out when things were happening, and on the website it says that there's no events, there's nothing going on.
Damn.
And then just the other day, they had a meet that I only found out about because Brogan has classes in the same building that the pool is in.
Sure.
And she was like, "Yeah, there's a meet going on." And I was like, "Do you want to watch it?" I was like, "Fuck our plans. Let's just watch the swim meet."
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "I don't think we can." Like, they
They're not letting
closed.
anyone in.
They basically like dropped blinds over the window, so you couldn't see in.
Wow.
Which is weird. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
like if we can't buy tickets to watch them, at least just let us watch from the sidelines.
Well,
Like,
you know, a lot of people would try to do that, and you'd have a tailgate, and then it'd be too much.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So that's been disappointing, and so I feel like definitely the biggest impact on me is like just not having a normal college experience.
Yeah.
And lots of people are like taking a semester off because they knew going into it that it'd be all online, and
Yeah, it's really ruined college for an entire generation of graduating
Yeah.
students.
yeah, one of my friends' girlfriend, who is also my friend, so I could just shorten this and say one of my
Yeah,
friends.
sure, you could have, but now you've
I could
mentioned
have,
it every
but
way
now
possible.
it's extra long. They took this semester off, and they kind of went into college not knowing what major they wanted, and I think they're just doing like an exploratory program. But then they took this semester off, and I think they're taking next semester off. Like I don't know if they're coming back, and I'm sure they will once they figure it out. But it's definitely that's kind of the problem with like a gap year. Is like a lot of people take a gap year.
Yeah,
and
we
they're
had a friend
like,
who took a gap year and never got back in.
Joel, number
Joel,
14.
Number 14 himself. I wasn't going to say his name, even though I know he doesn't listen.
He could listen.
I sent him the link. I don't know if he ever listened or not.
Yeah.
But he did
So I
a
mean,
gap
obviously this pandemic has been awful.
Yeah.
No fun for anyone. What are some things you've been doing to kind of distract yourself from it or like help you cope
year. I'm so glad
getting
you asked.
through not being able to see people?
Right. The easiest thing I think you can do in the pandemic to try and still feel connected, if you're not willing to Zoom your friends, which I understand, it's an app that we've pretty much killed into being business and only business at this point. It's kind of hard to get on Zoom and do something fun anymore. It's definitely beneficial, I think, if you have a sort of gaming outlet, something you would do with your friends anyway. It's important to keep stuff like that up. I was giving you an opportunity to cut in, but you didn't. So that's why I like to try and play at least once a week with the guys. I like to make sure we do family game night, even though sometimes it's a real pain to try and do. It's like pulling teeth to get someone to pick a freaking game for us to play. It's just really important to have those sort of connections, I think. What about you? I don't know if he can hear me anymore.
So sorry about that.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I got a phone call from my work buddy because he's like, you can still use my car to get there. And he feels bad about quitting because of how it's gonna affect me.
Uh-huh.
So he was giving me a call saying like he was like 5 minutes away, and I was like, no, you're not. So, yes, video games. I'm not saying I didn't hear what you said, but I mean, I kind of you play video games with your friends.
Yep.
I agree. I feel like if there's anything you can do during these times of not being able to meet new people, it's just really make sure you stay connected with the people that you do know. And so whether that's like you FaceTime or you chat on Discord or no one Skypes anymore.
No.
But like just stay connected with them. And I feel like our preferred method is video games for that.
It's just a convenient way to talk to people.
It absolutely is.
I mean, look at this podcast. We started it so we could have a conversation once a week.
Yeah, I mean, start a podcast with someone. Do it. Who cares? We're definitely not doing this because people listen to it.
Yeah, we do this for Jacob at this point.
Yeah, hi, Jacob. Hope your day is going well.
Yeah. Tell us about it. You got our numbers. Reach out.
Yeah. Call a friend. Yeah, so, but we choose video games, and I feel like it's a good way to not really focus on what you're talking about and just kind of chat.
Yeah, just kind of
because sometimes
close-ish
like,
to someone.
If you call someone, right, a lot of the times you feel like there's a purpose behind that phone call.
Right, you put a lot of pressure on a conversation.
And that's not what happens when you hang out with people, like, naturally. Like, you usually like walking or watching a movie or playing video games or playing board games or card games or whatever. And there's something else there to kind of, like, one, inspire conversation, and two, distract you from the conversation.
Make things a little bit
way
easier.
It's not as hard. And so video games, like talking in the party chat or whatever, it just feels more natural.
Or you can, like, turn on a movie at the same time and just kind of talk about it once in a while.
I know Netflix actually has, like, viewing parties that you can start. And so it just makes sure, I think a little chat thing pops up if you're, like, watching it, like, on a laptop or whatever. But then it just makes sure, like, the movies are in sync. And
cool.
So you can just be, like, talking to this person about the movie. I thought it was really neat.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like lots of companies have kind of pulled through and really tried to push the envelope of, like, enabling us to socially distance ourselves from people and not feel isolated.
You know who hasn't done that?
Walmart.
Fucking Apple.
Oh, what's Apple doing?
Okay, so Apple hasn't necessarily done anything to be like, fuck everyone who's suffering from the pandemic, but they have done something very near and dear to my heart that I'm so fucking pissed about, which is they tried to privatize the Peanuts movies.
What?
The Peanuts specials? Like the Thanksgiving
I know what
Charlie Brown special? And
yeah.
They tried to own them. Like, they tried to buy them and only let people watching Apple TV watch them.
That is the dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah,
I've
you
ever
talk about
heard.
the Grinch stealing Christmas. That's as close as we can get in corporate America.
Oh my! I didn't know that was a thing that was happening.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It really grinds my gears.
That's a huge. I mean, it's not like a tradition, but we definitely watched it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a
whenever they're
tradition for
on.
you guys, but I watch it every year. Even if I have to do it by myself, I'll watch it every year because it is a holiday tradition for me.
Yeah, well, our Christmas usually consists of like the crappy claymation Christmas movies, and we just like
Uh-huh.
chill,
And Elf.
open
We have to
gifts and
watch Elf,
stuff.
of course.
Oh, and Elf for sure.
But anyway, that's my 2 cents about Apple this week.
Yeah. Also, the whole Walmart thing I said, I don't. I just threw a name out. Like
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't stand by that?
think. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not trying to attack Walmart as a corporation. I know they're. I almost said their fan base, but I mean it's like their customer base.
Uh, Their customers?
They're not known for like socially distancing and like wearing masks and stuff.
But that's just Americans in general.
Yeah, it's just America. That has nothing to do with Walmart
Target's
as a
the same way.
business.
I was at Target earlier today, like I said.
Oh, really?
And I mean, people are not doing any better there. Some guy was hiding on one of the DVD aisles because he took his mask off to take a phone call. Like, first of all, go outside or leave your mask on. Go to the bathroom, take a privacy stall. Like, don't hide in the fucking DVDs and pretend we can't see you.
Yeah. The Kroger I go to, that's by my physical therapy place. They've actually been pretty good there, but they also have a security guard at the, like an actual fucking cop at the door.
Nice.
Last time I was there, there was one guy who didn't have a mask, but you could tell he was trying really hard to keep his shirt pulled up over his face, and so and he like genuinely seemed like upset that he forgot his mask but needed groceries kind of deal.
Right.
And he wasn't like, man, fuck this mask policy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Like, he was like, oh, no, I forgot my mask, but I need food.
Right. That's understandable.
So,
That's why a lot of places will offer you masks if you don't have one.
yeah.
Like, we went to the pet store because Katie needed a heat lamp. And we thought Target would have one, and they didn't. So we had to go to the pet store that was close by. And, like, as we were checking out, some girl was walking in with her dog, and she was like, oh, shoot, do you guys happen to have spare masks? I think I dropped mine somewhere. I don't have mine anymore. And the girl who's working the desk was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Let me just check them out. And then she had, like, a box of disposables. Just gave her one.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what we should be doing. We should be enabling people to socially distance and, like, wear masks and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we should be forcing them to.
Honestly, yeah.
I feel like
You're
there should
absolutely
be like
correct.
criminal punishment of like public endangerment if you choose not to wear a mask.
Right.
But that's political again. So
Yeah, well, we don't do that here.
let's talk about Cold War.
Yeah,
Right, I got my
fuck
Xbox
Cold
on in the
War.
background.
Okay.
It's cycling through. Someone I know is playing Cold War. Here's the thing. It's not a good game. It's unfinished at best.
And I think we can cut Treyarch. I think it was Treyarch this time around, and
Yeah, it's
Ravencraft or whatever they call themselves. We can cut them a little bit of slack because obviously with COVID, it's hard to get the people you need to make a AAA game, yada yada yada, whatever. I can cut them a little bit of slack there. But the fact that it has changed so little from the beta to launch is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean I didn't personally play the beta, but I have heard that like even for as far as like it's barely changed since the alpha stage.
Yeah,
And that's in my opinion that's unacceptable
it's
because
unforgivable from a AAA company.
I feel like the alpha stage is meant to show just a little bit of the gameplay. Just a little bit, not necessarily like show off like the graphics or anything, but just like a little bit of gameplay.
It's a
like,
software
get you a
test,
feel for
and
the
it really
game.
should be about the code and making sure hitboxes work properly, and that's
And just making
understandable.
sure there's no like game-ending bugs.
Right.
But that's, I mean, they didn't change anything. Like I feel like the graphics are comparable to like
2009
Black Ops
Modern
2.
Warfare.
like they're bad. And the cinematics, don't get me wrong, the cinematics, gorgeous. That's it. I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
Right.
The zombies is decently fun. It's pretty easy. Because
Yeah, we
it's a very
played.
small
We
map.
played yesterday. Like I said, I was talking to Jacob, and we were playing some Cold War. We played a round of zombies, and we made it to like round
Your
25.
audio cut out. Are you talking?
We had an enjoyable time playing that, but that was the only fun I had playing Cold War last night.
Boy, oh boy, it's my turn to carry the podcast because I can't hear him.
Oh, I stopped talking.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean the zombies is pretty easy because it boils down to like I don't know. 4 locations,
if that.
plus 1 underground area, and that's kind of the whole map. So it's easy to
Oh,
navigate.
I was counting
it's
the
easy.
underground area. Without the underground area, I'd say there's 3.
Yeah, okay, because like there's spawn, and then there's like that building, and then there's the plane crash area, and then there's the exfil site.
Right. But no one plays in building because it's a terrible location to play. So I say
Yeah.
spawn, plains, and pond is all you have, really.
And that's just like a transitional area. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like the gameplay, it can be a fun game. Don't get me wrong. I can have fun playing the game.
I just don't.
That has to do a lot with who I'm playing with.
Mm-hmm.
What my lobby looks like, because by the way, their matchmaking sucks right now.
Yeah, it's
for
not.
whatever reason. So you can get like a bunch of sweats and then a bunch of 8-year-olds back to back. It's really interesting.
I will cut them some slack there because there's a lot of issues. Because basically, people who consider themselves pro players are also whiny little bastards, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to play against good players. No, I have to work hard when I play for 8 hours straight. Oh, I just want good KD." And they're like, "Oh, we shouldn't do skill-based matchmaking then." And then people are like, "I just played casually for like 3 games. I had 2 sweat lobbies, and then 8-year-olds who didn't know how to hold the guns. Can we fix that a little bit?" And there's really no solution that makes everyone happy at this point. I would like to apologize for the voice I did for probably a minute and a half, because I'm sure it was not pleasant to listen to.
No, it was not fun, but it got the point across.
Yeah,
and that's
that
what
was the
matters
point.
here.
I had to get the point across a little bit.
But did you have something to add? I was just gonna mention that like, it kind of feels like a Black Ops game. It's definitely not as good as Black Ops 2 or
Black
the
Ops
original
1.
Black Ops, in my opinion.
I'll say it's better than Black Ops 3.
The story so far, I've only played a couple missions, but it's been really dumb so far. Like there's just sniper assassination mission, and it's set up to where you miss the shot. Like, sorry for the spoiler alert, but like that in my opinion is really dumb. Like there's no explosion or whatever that like triggers you to like stumble and miss. Like, no, your guy just literally misses a shot. He's a trained fucking...
Set the player up for failure. That's campaign 101. That's what really makes him want to keep playing. And I had the same problem, and granted, it's a little bit my fault. Before I get into this, actually, I'm going to say, if you want to see what Black Ops Cold War is about and you don't want to buy it, get on YouTube, look up a guy named Sour, capital S, capital O, lowercase UR. He does really good videos on the Call of Duties, and he has a lot of hours put into Cold War, really seeing what the skill-based matchmaking is about, seeing the best way to get camos, like all the things you might want to know about a Call of Duty before you buy it. Check him out. This is not a paid promotion. I just really like his content. But back to the campaign a little bit. I set it to the highest difficulty because that's how I play Call of Duty campaigns, right?
Yes.
And it immediately punishes you for playing because, like, the intro sequence, this isn't, like, anything to do with spoilers because it's still teaching you what they consider new interesting concepts. So you know that part where you get a body shield?
Right.
So basically, that part was impossible for me. I picked a gun at random out of the trunk because obviously I didn't know any better. So I picked up the Uzi because Uzis are fun. And I didn't think I'd have to do any far combat in the tutorial. So then I get to that part where you have to do the body shield, and that's a hard cut. So you lose there, you go back to that point where it teaches you how to do the body shield. Which means you have no chance to switch guns, which meant basically I spent an hour trying to do this one sequence because they set me up for failure and didn't get me a way out of it.
Right, because at that point you'd have to restart the entire campaign and sit through like the cutscenes and stuff again, and nobody wants to deal with that. Yeah, it's I also played on the highest difficulty. Like I said, I just finished the second mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's not... Here's the thing. The last Modern Warfare that came out was probably my favorite campaign that I've played.
It was a great campaign.
On a Call of Duty game.
I would say
one of
the only campaigns better than that, Black Ops 1.
Yeah, the original Black Ops 1 and even 2, I would say, have decent campaigns. Black Ops 1's really good.
2 is kind of weird.
It's decent,
but it's
in
fun.
my memory. Ghost was really fun.
God, bring back Call of Duty Ghosts. I don't know which one of you made it. Bring it back.
Get us a Ghost 2, please. And then I've also enjoyed the other Modern Warfare campaigns as well, but this last one that I played was probably my favorite out of all of them.
It's a really fun
And
campaign.
it feels kind of less arcadey than like a Black Ops game does. Like, I think a lot of that has to do with like the physics in it,
Hmm.
and especially being able to mount and like actually feel like you're taking cover.
Yeah, the way the graphics work with the
Yeah,
gameplay is really good. And even the fact that Modern Warfare 2019, I think, acknowledges the fact that, okay, when Modern Warfare started and when Black Ops started, we had a lot of kids playing the game. And we know it's rated M, and we know they shouldn't do that, but whatever. Right? Because it's fun and it's violent, and that's what kids like. And
exactly.
then Modern Warfare 2019 says, okay, these kids who were playing in 2010, they're adults now. Let's give them something sort of adult. So there are actions that are like kind of shady. It's not like a propaganda game anymore about how great America is. Like there's some shit that happens and you're like, oh wait, can we do this? And I mean, even the original Modern Warfare campaign had some of that, right? With the no Russian scene that's infamous now in the gaming world. And Modern Warfare 2019 really kind of explores that, where it's like, okay, here's a power of choice where things get a little gray, and you can make some decisions that really matter. And here's a group of characters that have background and have a story that's compelling and is interesting and kind of leads to some bad choices once in a while, and you have to choose how to react to that. And from what I've seen of Cold War, it's not that yet. It kind of feels like I'm a kid again, but in the worst way.
Yeah, I'll definitely finish the campaign. It'll take me a while just because I'll have to be like pretty bored to play it.
Will you finish it all 6 times?
No, God no. That's a cool concept that they've thrown in there with like the different endings and stuff. But I'll play it once and I'll be done. Unless I drop it to the easiest difficulty just to see the
Right,
other
just to see
endings.
the other endings.
If I end up falling in love with this campaign. But as far as like even multiplayer gameplay goes, like it's so fucking grenade heavy right now, which is so bizarre in
Which
my
is
opinion.
especially bizarre because like tactical grenades are garbage right now. The stun is terrible, and the fact that you have to level up and grind for levels to get to the anything past stim shots. It's like it's interesting that it's become grenade heavy.
Yeah,
I
but
think
there's
the reason, sorry, I interrupted you. I think
no,
the
you're
reason
fine.
it's grenade heavy is because there's so few guns. It's like
That's fair.
25 total guns, including the secondaries. That's so low compared to some of the other Call of Duties that you're like, oh, I guess I'll just throw this grenade because at least that explodes the right way.
Yeah, and I will say one thing I think they have done correctly. They allow you to wield a shotgun as a secondary.
Yes.
That's very nice.
And I will admit that it's not my favorite because with that, obviously, these shotguns have to play like secondaries, which can be kind of
Correct.
annoying when you miss easy shots or you get out zoomed and out damaged by a sniper rifle like at close range. But I mean, I understand that it needs to be a secondary for it to be a secondary, but
Yeah, and if you throw a laser sight on a gun, it immediately makes it to where you don't have to ADS.
of course not.
Like, like I don't have, like, cause I haven't played multiplayer more than like twice,
Hmm.
but my friend Jalen has, and so he has like laser sights on his guns, and he barely like aims now. He just kind of points and shoots,
Nice.
and I'm like, that's bizarre.
That's Halo.
Yeah,
We're
it
not
does
here for
have a kind
Halo.
of a Halo feel to it. It's a very arcadey game,
It is. It really is.
and I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm just saying it's not good.
Yeah, it's not the fun I wanted.
That's my opinion on it. I'll probably stick to Modern Warfare for a while,
I
if I'm
was
being
playing
honest.
Modern Warfare earlier today,
Yeah, I saw that scrolling through my Xbox
and
actually.
honestly, it's so fun still.
It's a good game.
It's well made. It really is. There's a lot of heart and soul, I think. And obviously, because it's a game coming from the 21st century, obviously it's got microtransactions and it's got a bunch of things that are just bad for the gaming industry, but at the same time, it manages to still be fun without making you do those.
Yeah, and here's the thing with its microtransactions that it has. If you want to customize the hell out of your character, you can pay and you can do that. But it doesn't give you an edge
Mm-mm.
like on like competitively. You don't pay to like increase damage or get better weapons or anything.
You don't
can
pay
get
to
some cool
unlock Darth
effects.
Vader.
Right. Is that a jab at EA?
That is absolutely a jab at Battlefront 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they even went about like microtransactions the right way, because it's like there are some operators who are like a throwback to an older game or whatever, and you can pay to unlock them, or you can like pay to get battle pass and unlock them that way, which
Right.
is probably the way to do it, especially if you're like an avid player.
Mm-hmm. And I think
But,
that's
like,
really smart too, the way that they did Battle Pass, because once you play a little bit, you get enough points to get Battle Pass for free, and then you can keep unlocking enough COD points to keep getting Battle Pass. So you can play to unlock things, even if you don't want to pay extra for them.
right. I have not reached that point yet. I need to. I mean, I don't need to do it because, like, obviously, I don't need to play video games. But
Right.
what I do need to do is log off here and get ready for work.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I gotta go to hell today.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'll buy my lonesome as well. I'm not sure how much longer I'll last here.
No one will blame you for leaving. And I don't think they will either, because, I mean, they knew when they hired you that it was not an enviable position.
Yeah. Low-key, what I might do is after this week, if my boss listens to this for some weird fucking reason, don't.
It's
Stop
too late to
listening
tell them
now.
not to at the end of the episode.
No, but I was gonna say what I'm probably gonna do is like next weekend, put in like a COVID notice so I can get 2 more weeks
I mean,
paid.
yeah.
I mean, and it wouldn't be a lie if we end up going home for the holidays.
Honestly.
So, I told one of my roommates earlier, I was like, I could just go home and then just quarantine for 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
Especially
that
like-
was my plan for a minute, because when we started quarantine up here, they didn't recognize immediately that we had already started quarantine. We just hadn't informed them because we were following campus instructions. So they were like, okay,
Right.
you have to quarantine until the end of next week, which would be through Thanksgiving. And if you go home for Thanksgiving, then you have to start your quarantine over. And I was like, this is dumb, and I don't know what to do about it.
are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Am I right?
Yeah, they were all three.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I mean, you have fun at work. This has been Conversations Over Coronavirus, I guess.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
We started with coronavirus. We
the
talked
pandemic.
about, I mean, just about anything for an hour. Because that's what happens when we talk.
That's every episode.
Yeah. You want to do the outro? I don't think you know it.
Yeah, this has been Conversations over the pandemic, and I'm gonna consider this conversation over.
All right, you look at that. He does know it.